Alrighty. What's up, guys? So worries. Welcome back with another live stream. And your man is back. The frick? Peanut butter jelly time. Damn.
Was your court thing anything important, that paper?
I hope it wasn't anything bad for you.
No, I already paid it. So I'm not worried.
Right.
No, some bags, that's good. What'd you do during the day? Pretty good?
Hmm?
How was the day? Pretty good?
Oh yeah, pretty good.
That's good.
Kind of boring though.
Appreciate it. Subscribe, Ronald. Thank you. Damn! Forward looking. Okay. Damn, you guys are jumping on it. That's crazy.
Yes, man, you got the unique weekend off too, John.
Crazy. I'm gonna kill this toilet.
Jesus.
Stupid ass thing. Just gets stuck every goddamn time.
I was feeling damn toilet thing.
I always wait every time I flush. I just tap it every time.
Dude, I
Just
usually
to
do that too.
clarify.
It
Just
seems
to
like
clarify,
it's
because it's just like fucking stupid.
That's why I take a second in there after I'm done. I tap it once or twice. I'm like, shut the fuck out thing. It still does it apparently. That's what it. What damn it. Silly, stupid shit, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty long periods without without Mr. Eisenberg, you know what I mean? He's fucking barely ever around, so it's like, whatever.
That man is barely around. I swear to God, I'm worried about it.
That's why I don't even fucking, that's why I could be with a fucking girl right now, I don't give a fuck. You know?
Literally. Literally, if you had a girl
Don't
over,
matter.
like I'm just gonna say, if you literally had a girl over and wanted to fuck, I honestly wouldn't even give a shit. Cause trust me, my best, cause I'll tell you flat out. Here's the funny thing: a story about my best friend. Basically, he had like he has a 2-bedroom apartment. Basically, it's like down like this, but he has stairs to go upstairs. And I'll tell you like right now, this is the funny thing. Picture like this is like his room, but his front door basically would be where I'm at right here. Like this is his living room, and so back here, when you go in, he has a little staircase right here to go upstairs. His living room's like where our kitchen is right there. His bedroom's like above the kitchen right there. I used to always like when I hang out with him, I play my games so down in his living room or so, or set my game system or so. Like you could just hear him and his girlfriend fucking up there on their bed, squeaking when I'm downstairs. Like and I'm just like saying, I don't even care. Like literally, if you have a girl over.
See, I always try to put fans on to try.
Right.
Try to draw.
Like literally, I would say like even if you guys did or
because
didn't,
I don't like silenceness. You know?
Right.
I can't stand that, me personally.
Right.
No difference on a fucking house that's
Right.
all fucking wood and creaking and all
just
that
hear the
shit.
creaking
That
stuff like
drive me insane.
exactly. But yeah,
you
the
think
funny
of fucking
thing,
demons watching or some shit.
but yeah, here's the funny thing. If you ever had a girl and wanted to fuck and just so like that, I wouldn't even give a shit. Like, go ahead. I don't care. Because I will say, my best friend, anytime he did that as his girlfriend, like, there's tons of times he did that. I never cared. Like,
Right.
I ain't gonna judge you. You do you. I'm just gonna stay here and play my game. I ain't gonna judge you. Like,
Right.
you wanna fuck in your room? Go right ahead. I ain't judging. I don't care. That's your biz. I ain't gonna bug you or stuff. Like, have fun.
Right.
Like literally, I'll just have your fun in there. And if I hear it and it bugs me, I'll just turn on a little bit of music, put in headphones. I ain't gonna bug your ass or stuff like that. Like that's the funny thing with me. My friends and stuff, they can just smash themselves. They want to in their rooms, and I'm just like, go ahead. I don't even care. Have fun. It's like,
Right.
I ain't gonna bug you. You have fun. And if it bugs me, I'll put on a little music or something to bug you. But I ain't gonna bug you. So you have your fun. I ain't gonna bug you at all.
Real.
Literally, if you get a girl and so want to do that, trust me, feel free. I don't give a shit.
Honestly, the
Trust
one
me.
in Australia, I don't know.
Because if you ever get one, like a legit one that's able to visit and stuff for that, feel free to do what you want. They ain't gonna bug me. Just never be afraid to you. Just don't fuck on the couch where I sleep. Or in the
I have
chair.
more respect than that.
Like, don't
Yeah.
don't fuck on my
I
current bed
have
or my
more
chair.
respect than that. I'll be honest with you there.
Right, like just don't fuck on the couch or my chair. Like, please.
Nah, I wouldn't do that.
I know you
It's
wouldn't.
too wrong.
I know you wouldn't. That shit's
It's
awkward.
too wrong.
With a big ass window there. Oh hell no.
Right. Nah. Even with the curtains closed.
Exactly, they're not the best.
Excuse me.
Right, not the best stuff, but fun little stuff. For real. Oh hey, I did got kind of good news though. Good to tell you.
What's the new news?
You know, I told you eventually I wanted to stream and stuff.
Yeah.
I actually bought myself a little webcam and a video capture card.
Oh yeah. There we go.
I got my small tax and did that out of it. I'm just waiting on them to come in one of these days.
Oh yeah, bro.
Yeah, well, basically, yeah. Might not use the webcam right away, but I got a video card, and well, figured your ass can show me how to fucking hook it up and
Video card?
the video capture card. I figured your ass knows more on that stuff than me. I figured, hey, maybe you could help me.
You'd have to watch a video.
Right, that's why I figured maybe you could help me
I don't even
out.
have a video capture card, honestly.
Right, that's why I'm like, maybe we can figure that out, or hopefully come some goddamn instructions.
That's why I was trying to ask Dom on it, honestly. See, I know he has one.
Right, I know you were trying to ask on that for me, but we haven't heard anything. Which, yeah, he's a busy man.
Well, I mean, he just.
He's a busy
He
man.
gave a little bit of description on it, but he didn't go that much deeper.
He's a busy man. That's fine.
Yeah, he's back now and be like, hey, how do you connect it?
Yeah, that's all you need. Actually, hey, how do you hook it up? Like, do you plug it in any spot or something? That's all you really need. Basically, that's where I'm going with it.
Right now. 6 a.m.
That's a don't even plug it, man. Let that man sleep.
At least probably not even sleeping.
Probably. He'll probably pop in your
Oh,
shit
there.
eventually, but yeah, it'll just be appreciated. Eventually, if I probably want to get on big tax, I might get a little tiny green screen or something.
See, now that would be an improvement on getting a PC.
Right.
Won't
Like I
cap on
said.
that.
Right. As said, I might figure something Because personally, what I'm thinking, to be honest here, like, you know how we got this little coffee table here, to be honest? I'm personally thinking about trying to get a little stand for, like, right here. You know how I was talking about the corner right here?
Yeah.
See how this is? Like, or diagonalized right there. Stand kind of right here.
Right.
Because I said this part right here is not in your thing. I stand right here and move the couch diagonal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting.
Figure something out. I'm thinking ideas because, as I said, this thing can barely just move a little
Hey,
to the left. But it's just
Curious.
easy.
could you maybe explain how to connect a video capture card? Or maybe give a little bit of like a video of like how yours is connected to your PC or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. If you're able to, by chance, let me know.
You could also just say, is it like a little simple plug into a wall PC thing? That's first thing. It'd be easy to use that. Just be a plug in multiple spots. Probably would be multiple plug in spots.
Wow, surprisingly the voice thing got it right. I don't have to edit anything. That's the first one.
I mean, I'd just say probably it's just like probably one plug in, two plug in, or something like that. It's my assumption.
Probably, yeah.
My assumption is probably just plugs into the wall, plugs into the system, and plugs into the one thing. I'm assuming it's just like multiple plugins. Probably as simple as that. Just said, we could also look at the video. As said, easy enough. Enough said.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be too hard.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Alright, it wouldn't be too
Like I
hard.
said, yeah, I don't. No PC, so I don't.
Well,
Percent no one yet. That's what I'd like to kind of get mine going again and really jump into that.
Right.
Yes, we are back. It is back. Got
Yes,
another
I'll figure it out.
President Trump type of string, I guess. Waiting. Yeah, essentially. Essentially the situation. Signing a bunch of tariff delays on daylight saving time, which that one I'm actually curious on. The take on that one, because it'd be nice if they actually get rid of daylight saving time.
Everyone wants it to go away. The funny thing is,
So hopefully this time he can finally get it to go away, because I know he tried it last time and the fucking Democrats disapproved it. So hopefully we can maybe push it through this time. That'd be great.
be nice. A lot of people don't want it. Funny thing is, at work the other day,
It just
people
creates
were talking
havoc.
about-
That's all it does.
Oh yeah, people at work the other day were talking about like, please just let me get rid of this.
Right. Yeah, let's just stay on real time. Honestly, I think real time is better. This is technically real time. Honestly, I think it's better. So yeah, so smash the like, subscribe if you guys are new. We appreciate it. We've been jumping around between 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27, and even 28 subs. We're lovely, the wonderful YouTube trend, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Gotta love it, but you know what, we keep on striving regardless, and eventually we'll break the trend, right? We always do. Every time, so, we keep on going, we keep on striving. But yeah, so yeah, a couple things, executive orders, a bunch of other interesting topics. If you guys want me to cover more of these, hit that like button, go for 7 likes, crush it. The more I run into these, the more I'll cover. So, I think they're pretty interesting. It was good to kind of step the date with them, in a sense, especially if it's important information. All that. So.
Some of these exemptions that have been announced and some of these temporary delays, have you been influencing those decisions because of the market reaction?
Well, there are no delays at all. No, nothing to do with the market. I'm not even looking at the market because long-term, the United States will be very strong with what's happening here. Now, these are countries and companies, foreign companies, that have been ripping us off, and no president did anything about it until I came along, and then I did a lot about it. You know, we took in tariffs from China, $600 billion. nobody else took in 10 cents from China, they never did. But when COVID came along, we had to focus on COVID. We did a great job, we got rid of that. We ended up handing over with a market that was higher than it was previous to COVID coming in. But this is very much about companies and countries that have ripped off this country, our beloved USA.
What's up, Vancouver?
And they're not gonna be ripping us off anymore.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
I think that has an impact on the market.
So this is a slate of nominees that's been prepared by the Presidential Personnel Office. It includes a number of sub-cabinet level appointments, a number of your ambassadors that have been previously announced, and also crucially, given the administration's concerted effort to focus on violent crime, it includes a number of U.S. attorneys in major cities that have real crime problems.
Okay? So very good people too.
Thank you, sir. And then we have a number of ceremonial proclamations that Lindsay Halligan is going to
So two very special proclamations, the first of which is a proclamation that proclaims March 2025 as Women's History Month in honor of all the wonderful women in your administration, all the wonderful women in America, and in honor of everything you've done for women and this administration has done for women in just
I love
What,
that golf
month and a
America in the back.
You've done a lot. And women have done a lot for us, right? This is an honor.
For real.
We have a wonderful woman here, Maria Bartiromo.
Thank you so much.
Nice to have you, Maria.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thanks for all that you're doing for women.
Thank you. Gonna do an interview of me later. Maybe I shouldn't do this interview. I should be like Biden, not do any interviews.
Sad.
That's great. Women, we love you.
And right, we do.
We love you too,
So the second one is a proclamation proclaiming March 2025 as Irish American Heritage Month in honor of, well, to commemorate our amazing friendship between America and Ireland, and to just honor all of the Irish Americans. And I'm a little bit biased because I'm American and Irish, but
Yeah, well, they're great people. They're great
St.
people.
Patrick's Day is coming up as well.
And they voted for me in heavy numbers, so I like them even more. You have to like it. You know, you're not supposed to, but you have to like that. So for the Irish American people, proclamation. Thanks, Liz.
Mr. President, your envoy Steve Witkoff told us a little while ago that if Hamas does not release hostages, that the U.S. and Israel could take some action. What does that mean in your eyes? Is that military action? Would you join strikes with
What are you
Israel?
gonna find out? I had the honor of spending a lot of time yesterday with quite a few of the people that we got out, and I can't believe how badly treated they were, really badly treated. Stories that you wouldn't even believe. Some of it was documented, some of it was so bad you couldn't really, I don't think you could put it on. And it's a shame, and they said one thing, that they have 59 hostages, of which many of them are killed. They want to know if we could just continue. They said without us, look, Biden wasn't able to get anybody out. We came along and they started releasing. But we have 59 left, of which 24 are living. The rest are dead. And I put out a statement. It's sort of self-explanatory, I think. But somebody's going to have to get a lot rougher than they're getting. It's a shame. And those 24 that are living, because they were with them just 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, depending on when they got out. But they said they're in very bad shape.
You spoke today with your cabinet members and Elon Musk.
I did.
What did you tell them in regards to Elon Musk and his authorities to carry out actions?
We had a great meeting. We had Elon and we had some of the representatives for, the business reps. We also had most of the cabinet members, not all of them. It doesn't really pertain to all of them, but many of them. And I thought it was a really good meeting. It was about cutting because everybody knows the country's way out of control in terms of the number of people. We have many people that don't work. We have many people probably that aren't even living that are getting checks. And we're finding all of that out, and it's being reported. We're going to save hundreds of billions of dollars. We've already saved a lot. And parts of it are contracts that are expired that we're paying on. Many crazy things that, you know, you can see it happening. It shouldn't happen, but you can see it happening. You see a lot of it being put out. But the other thing, I think most important for today, I want the cabinet members to keep good people. Now, I don't want to see a big cut where a lot of good people are cut. I want the cabinet members to keep the good people, and the people that aren't doing a good job, that are unreliable, don't show up to work, etc., those people can be cut. So I had a meeting, and I said, I want the cabinet members go first, keep all the people you want, everybody that you need. And it would be better if they were there for 2 years instead of 2 weeks, because in 2 years they'll know the people better. But I want them to do the best job they can. When we have good people, that's precious, it's very important, and we want them to keep the good people. And so we're going to be watching them, and Elon and the group are going to be watching them. And if they can cut, it's better. And if they don't cut, then Elon will do the cutting.
So, Mr. President, is there a reflection that you think Doge and Elon Musk have been moving too quickly?
No, I think they've done an amazing job. They've done an amazing job, and look at what they found. I read it the other night in the speech. I mean, they found these things where billions of dollars has been poured down the drain to things. That's not about people, that's about contracts where billions and billions of dollars was just thrown out the window. It probably got kickbacks. I'm sure there were tremendous kickbacks for the people that authorized those contracts. But no, Elon has been really teaching everybody about the numbers that you can do. But what I want is I want the numbers, but I also want to keep the good people. We want to get rid of the people that aren't working, that aren't showing up, and have a lot of problems. And so they're working together with Elon, and I think we're doing a really great job. We're cutting it down. We have to for the sake of our country. You can't have that kind of fat. It's bloat, and like nobody's ever seen before. Where you need 20,000 and they have 120,000 people, and you just don't need that many. And it happens with companies, and it happens with governments, I guess. You could go to a lot of governments, you'd see the same thing. But we're trying to get it down. We want to be able, next year we could balance the budget. I think there's a good chance we could balance the budget next year. We have a lot of good things happening. Plus we have a lot of revenue things happening, like today with the shipbuilding. And this gentleman behind me is going to create a lot of jobs. And he's about the biggest there is in the world. We had the biggest chip maker in the world here a few days ago. He's going to be spending $200 billion on building plants. We're not giving him any money to build it either. You know, it's not, that CHIP Act is ridiculous, where the Biden thing, where they give billions of dollars to people that have nothing but money. They're not going to spend that money. They're just taking that money. We're giving nothing. They're coming in because of the tariffs, because they don't want to pay the tariffs, and they're opening up things. So, but with respect to people, I said, I want to cut the people, but I want to keep the good people.
Tariffs, certainly walk us through the next steps on this. Steel and aluminum tariffs are due to kick in next week on Canada, Mexico, and every other country. Are those going to be modified as well?
No, those aren't modified. Those are happening next week, and the big one will be on April 2nd when reciprocal tariffs. So if India or China or any of the countries that really, India is a very high tariff nation. I'll tell you what's a high tariff nation is Canada. Canada charges us 250% for our milk product and other product, and a tremendous tariff on lumber and things as such. And yet we don't need their lumber. We have more lumber than they do. We don't need Canada's lumber. So what I'm doing is I'll be signing an executive order freeing up our forests so that we're allowed to take down trees and make a lot of money and then reharvest trees. Also, we're cutting fire divides. A fire divide is a 50-yard to a 70-yard swath where the trees can't, it's long enough so trees don't burn forever until you can get them out. And those trees can be sold and make a lot of money with. So, but we'll be doing that. We don't need trees from Canada. We don't need cars from Canada. We don't need energy from Canada. We don't need anything from Canada. So when we can be self-sustaining, which is in most things. Look, we have more oil and gas than anybody. Our forests are massive, massive forests. We're just not allowed to use them because of the environmental lunatics that stopped us. So I'm gonna be freeing that up very shortly so that we don't have to go to other countries to buy lumber. You know, why should we be buying lumber from other countries, paying tariffs, paying big prices, extraordinary prices, and we have lumber. We have the best lumber.
And this USMCA exemption you're essentially announcing today for this 1 month,
It's just a modification, short term, because I didn't want to hurt the American, it would have hurt the American car companies if I did that.
would you consider the same sort of exemption or pause with the auto tariffs you're talking about next month?
We're not looking at that.
You're not,
No, we're not looking at that, no, no. Yep.
TPS for the Ukrainians who live here in the US?
What about it?
Are you considering revoking the TPS status for the more than 200,000 Ukrainians who live here in the US?
Wait, what are you saying?
The Ukrainians that are here in the
Yeah,
US, they're under TPS status.
On GPS?
TPS, temporary.
Oh, I thought you said GPS.
TPS.
Yeah.
There was some news saying they were going to be revoked and they were going to be deported from the country. Are you considering that?
Well, we're not looking to hurt anybody, and we're certainly not looking to hurt them. And I'm looking at that, and there were some people that think that's appropriate and some people don't, and I'll be making a decision pretty soon. Okay?
President Trump said.
But we're not looking to hurt them,
President Trump said
especially Ukrainians. They've gone through a lot. Yeah, Peter?
the clocks are gonna spring forward on Sunday. When are you going to get rid of daylight savings?
Okay, are you ready? So, this should be the easiest one of all, but it's a 50-50 issue. And if something's a 50-50 issue, it's hard to get excited about it. I assume people would like to have more light later, but some people want to have more light earlier because they don't want to take their kids to school in the dark. And it's very much, it's a little bit one way, but it's very much a 50-50 issue. And it's something I can do, but a lot of people like it one way, a lot of people like it the other way. It's very even. And usually I find when that's the case, what else do we have to do?
And I gotta ask, because we were talking about this here, joint address, we were talking about color. It's been 7 months. Why do you think we don't know more about this guy who shined green?
Yeah, oh, well, and the second one with all of his cell phones, so I want to find the answers. I told them. In fact, today I said, I want to find, we can no longer blame Biden for that one. He should have released that a long time ago. So they are giving me a report next week sometime, and I do believe I'll be releasing, I want to release the report. A lot of people have asked that question. You had one who had 3 apps, 2 of which were foreign, supposedly, and who has the biggest white shoe law firm in Pennsylvania, even though they don't live in necessarily a white shoe area. What's that all about? His law, you know, the law firm. The other one had 7 or 6 cell phones, and I don't have 6 cell phones. And why would somebody have 6 cell phones? So we're going to be releasing a report on that soon, Peter.
But based on what you're saying right there, the lack of information and the data points that you just gave, does that make you think that there's some part of there's some data?
It could be. Well, it makes other people think that. It makes me think it a little bit too. I say, when you have 3 apps and 2 of them are foreign, and you had an FBI that wouldn't report on it, they didn't want to say why, I would say that could be suspicious. And then on the second assassin, you had, you know, and by the way, I have to tell you, Secret Service did a great job on that by spotting him. But on the second one, he had 6 cell phones. That's a lot of cell phones. And a couple of them had some strange markings on them. So, yeah, I want to find out, and I would be willing to release it. I mean, maybe there's a reason that we shouldn't, so I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis, but yeah, I would be very willing to release that. I'd like to see it. I want to see it myself. Not only you, I want to see that one myself.
May I?
Yes.
President Macron yesterday said that France was ready to offer its nuclear protection to other European countries. What do you make of it? And in this case, would the US also maintain a nuclear umbrella for European countries?
Well, France is also willing to put soldiers into Ukraine for safety reasons if we can get it. I will say that we've made a lot of progress with Ukraine and a lot of progress with Russia over the last couple of days. And it'd be great to bring that to an end, so we don't have to talk that way about nuclear. It'd be great if everybody would get rid of their nuclear weapons. You know, we have Russia and us have by far the most. China will have an equal amount within 4 or 5 years. And it would be great if we could all denuclearize, because the power of nuclear weapons is crazy. It is crazy. And, you know, I was very far along the process with Russia, despite the Russia hoax, which didn't make it easy. It was a total hoax, a total rigged hoax by some bad people. But despite that, I was very close to having a program with Russia, denuclearization, and we were going to get China. I spoke to President Xi about it, and he would have been very happy to have gone along with it. But bad things happened, like an election that was rigged happened, and so we had to come back 4 years later. But I would very much like to start those talks. The opposite of what you say, the denuclearization would be incredible.
Mr. President, on the auto tariffs that you were talking about, I know yesterday you spoke with the big three. Did you tell them that no more exemptions were on the way, and what was the
I
reaction?
told them, that's it. This was a short-term deal. And they came back to me yesterday, they said, could we have some help on the tariffs because of the speed? And I said, look, I'm gonna do it, but that's it. Don't come back to me after the April 2nd. I don't wanna hear from you after April 2nd. We're not gonna be doing it anymore. I wanna help them.
What was their response?
They didn't complain, but I helped them short-term during this short-term transition. April 2nd is gonna be a very big day for America.
Mr. President, my understanding is that longstanding U.S. policy is that we do not negotiate with terrorists. So how did you come to the decision to send somebody from your team to negotiate with Hamas?
We are having discussions with Hamas. We are helping Israel in those discussions because we're talking about Israeli hostages. And we're not doing anything in terms of Hamas. We're not giving cash. We're not giving $6 billion like you hear other administrations give. In fact, I got 59 hostages out, and we gave nothing. In 59, we gave nothing, not including what's going on with Hamas. I mean, I consider that something where we're helping Israel for the most part. We had a couple of hostages, as you know. We got a couple of hostages out, American hostages.
Mr. President,
But certainly there are, you know, you have to negotiate. There's a difference between negotiating and paying. We want to get these people out. If you would have seen the people yesterday, maybe you did, I don't know, but if you would have seen them, the way they spoke about their captivity, it was unbelievable. It's terrible.
Are you about making any changes to NATO where a NATO country gets attacked and they're not paying enough dues so the United States doesn't defend them?
Well, I've said that to them. I said, if you're not going to pay, we're not going to defend. I said that 7 years ago. And because of that, they paid hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, if you're not going to pay your bills, we're not going to defend you. And it also went for the attack. But if they got attacked, they said, well, does that mean you won't defend us? I said, are you current or are you delinquent? They said, if we were delinquent, would you? I said, nope, I would not. And because of that, as you know, hundreds of billions of dollars came into NATO. You wouldn't have NATO right now if I weren't there. And your previous Secretary General has said that. He said he's never seen anything like it. When I came to NATO, when I first had my first meeting, I noticed that people weren't paying their bills at all. And I said I should wait for my second meeting, and I did. And I brought that up. And I said, if you don't pay your bills, we're not going to participate, we're not going to protect you. And when I said that, as soon as I said that, it was amazing how the money came in. The money came in, and now they have money. But even now, it's not enough. It's really not enough. They should be paying more.
Mr. President, question on the investment, sir. You've overseen about $2 trillion worth of domestic private sector investments come in just about 2 months. This is the newest one. It comes after your announcement of a new shipbuilding office at the White House during your joint session to Congress. Can you talk about why this is important not only for national security, but to continue the renaissance of domestic manufacturing?
Well, we have to maintain a strong country. We have to maintain, we want to pay off debt. We have a lot of debt that'll start coming off quickly when this all comes around. Look, we've been supporting the whole world. You mentioned NATO and you mentioned other things. we've been supporting, well, when I first came in, we were paying almost 100% of NATO. NATO it was crazy. We were supporting NATO, we were paying the bills for other countries, and yet those same countries, mostly European, the European countries were ripping us off in trade. And they won't take our cars, they wouldn't take our agricultural product, they wouldn't take anything. Yet we were taking their cars by the millions, Mercedes and BMW and Volkswagen, all of them. We were taking their cars, they weren't taking. We were taking their farm products, they weren't taking ours. It's a total ripoff, and yet we were protecting them by giving them the money. And that adds up to a bad number at the end of a lot of years, and that's what happened. And now it's time for this country to stop being ripped off. I had that done very much in the first administration, but then we had to focus on other things at the very end with COVID. And but we had the greatest economy in history. We had the greatest economy in history. I think we're going to redo it here, but even better. And I wanted to do what we're doing now in the first term, but we had so many other things to do. We had to fix the border, which we did. We had to fix our military. We rebuilt our military. We completely rebuilt the military, only to watch Biden give so much of it away to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. And that's not even believable. It's not even believable what he did. The damage that man did, or that administration did, to this country is frankly not even believable. And in particular, allowing millions and millions of people to come into our country. Many of them were murderers and drug dealers and gang members and people from prison for very heinous crimes. For him to allow those people into our country, and now we're spending tremendous amounts of time and effort. Nikki and Tom Homan is doing an unbelievable job, but we shouldn't have to be spending anything on that. We have the safest border ever. Now we have actually, as you saw, the numbers just came out, where we have actually the lowest numbers in the history of our country. But we shouldn't have had to do that. What we're doing now is we're looking for murderers. Can you believe it? We're looking for murderers, because thousands of murderers, some about 50% killed more than one person. One killed 5 or 7. And we're looking for those people right now. We shouldn't have to be looking for
President
them.
Trump, on Peter's question, are you going to make that policy, U.S. policy, that the U.S. wouldn't defend NATO countries that don't pay?
Well, I think it's common sense, right? If they don't pay, I'm not going to defend them. No, I'm not going to defend them. I got into a lot of heat when I said that. You said, oh, he's violating NATO. And the biggest problem I have with NATO, I really, I know the guys very well. They're friends of mine. But if the United States was in trouble, and we called them, we said, we got a problem. France, we got a problem. A couple of others I won't mention. Do you think they're going to come and protect us? They're supposed to. I'm not so sure. With Japan, we have a deal, which is a very interesting one.
It's very true. Yeah, are they going to stand up to their deal? That's
Japan, but we have an interesting deal with Japan that we have to protect them, but they don't have to protect us. You know that? That's the way the deal reads. We have to protect Japan, and by the way, they make a fortune with us economically. There's another case, but we have to protect Japan, but under no circumstances do they have to protect us. I actually asked, who makes these deals? Yeah, Peter?
So why stay in NATO at all?
I view NATO as potentially good, but you gotta get some good thinking in NATO. It's very unfair what's been happening. Until I came along, we were paying close to 100% of NATO. So think of it, we're paying 100% of their military, and they're screwing us on trade.
And when Zelensky inevitably comes back to the White House, what do you expect from him and even the team in the next?
Well, I think what's going to happen is Ukraine wants to make a deal because I don't think they have a choice. I also think that Russia wants to make a deal because in a different way that only I know. Only I know. They have no choice either.
Are you still thinking of going to Saudi Arabia and meet with Putin about this?
I don't know, I can't tell you. I'm going to Saudi Arabia.
Mr. President,
You know, I've made a deal with Saudi Arabia where, because normally you go to UK first. And last time I went to Saudi Arabia, they put up $450 billion, you know that, right? You were there. We had we had American companies that took in $450 billion. I said, well, this time, they've gotten richer, we've all gotten older. So I said, I'll go if you pay $1 trillion, $1 trillion to American companies, meaning the purchase over a 4-year period of $1 trillion. And they've agreed to do that. So I'm gonna be going there, and I have a great relationship with them. And they've been very nice, but they're gonna be spending a lot of money to American companies for buying military equipment and a lot of other things.
Is that a trip in the near future?
But probably over the next month and a half. yes.
Mr. President, you told us a couple of weeks ago that you were looking to speak with President Xi of China. That hasn't happened. How come? What are you
Well, I
waiting
have
for?
spoken to them.
Since that last one?
I don't wanna say that, but I have spoken to them. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Mr. President,
I have a great relationship with President Xi.
But you've spoken to.
It was hurt because of COVID.
Thank you, Mr.
That's why I don't call it the China virus anymore. I said, please don't call it the China virus.
But to be clear, you've spoken to him since January 17th?
I don't want to say that, but I have spoken to him.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
I
President.
speak to him a lot.
Regarding this executive order you signed revoking security clearances at Perkins Coie, do you think there should be more steps like this to be taken against other people involved in the Russia collusion?
I do, but that's gonna be up ultimately to the Attorney General and various other people.
Absolutely. Just as a follow-up, the other night, we saw Democrats' behavior during your joint address to Congress.
Yeah.
Do you think it shows just how out of touch they are with the American people, especially given that 79%, according to a CBS poll, approved of your
I love this guy. Who are you?
My name is Nick Gilbertson with Breitbart News.
I really like your questions.
Thank you very much.
So regarding the executive order.
The answer is just, Nick, just to, and I know your name very well. Good job, you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, the answer is, I thought it was very embarrassing for the Democrats what happened the other night. And that's not said for any other reason other than it's obvious, it's fact. Even CNN fake news said that. They came out and they said it. And worse than CNN is MSDNC, which is the worst. And the good news is very few people watch them anymore. They have lost such credibility. And frankly, what Nicole Wallace said, I've never been a fan of hers, and she's not very talented. But I'll tell you what she said the other day about that young man is disgraceful. She should be forced to resign. And Rachel Maddow should be forced to resign. Nobody watches her anyway. I don't know if it's not possible they pay her as much money as I hear, but certainly she's lost all credibility, both of them. But what they said the other day, they should be forced to resign about that young person who is suffering greatly. Thank you.
Will you extend, if the TikTok deal is not made on the timeline you gave, will you extend that? Will you-
Probably, yeah.
You will, okay.
I think, look, we have a lot of interest in TikTok. And China's gonna play a role, and so hopefully China will approve of the deal. But they're gonna play a role. But we have a lot of interest in TikTok.
How long will you extend it and how close are you to it?
Well, we'll see, but if I need, right now, we have at least another month, so we don't need an extension. But if I needed an extension, I'd probably get it extended.
Mr. President, regarding the executive order, that was thought that you might sign was winding down the education department,
Which department?
the education department. Are you having second thoughts on that?
No, I wanna bring, the schools, back to the states. And, I've said it 100 times, we're ranked at the bottom of the list and yet we spend more. We're ranked #1 for cost pursuit. We're ranked at the bottom of the list in education. And I know if I bring it back to Iowa, Indiana, Idaho, all these great states, I think I could say 40 states. I want to bring it back. 10 states won't be perfect, 5 states will be probably not so good, but they will be every bit as good as Norway and Denmark and Sweden and all of the states that are rated at the top. If you tell me about Indiana and some of these great states that run really well, Iowa. You tell me about those states, and if they run their own education, they're gonna do a lot better than somebody sitting in Washington DC that couldn't care less about the pupils out in the Midwest. Well, I want to just do it. I mean, we're starting the process. We're trying to get the schools back into the states. Let the states run the schools. And I'll tell you, you'll see something, it's gonna blow your mind. It'll be run so well. The school system, and I also believe in school choice, but that will take care of itself.
Follow to that, Mr. President, if the education department were eliminated, how would you see, sort of what department, what agency would handle student loans and the other types of federal
That would be
grants?
brought in, yeah, that would be brought into either Treasury or Small Business Administration or Commerce. And we've actually had that discussion today. I don't think the education should be handling the loans, that's not their business. I think it'll be brought into small business maybe. Kelly really liked it and really would like to do it. So the loans would be brought into a group where they really do that. And I think it should be, that is, by the way, the most complicated thing in moving, but it's very simple if you do that.
And in the same federal grants?
Rejected your plan to move out, you know, the 2 million people out of Gaza. What's your reaction to that in Egypt's plan, to this meeting that happened?
Out of Gaza? I think that Gaza's a mess, and I think that Gaza could be good. I think it's got to be run properly, but right now Gaza is an absolute mess, and it has been for many, many years and decades. Yeah, Peter, did you have one more?
I think, yeah, having 2 Starliner astronauts stuck in space for 8 months.
Oh, they left them alone. Biden left them up there.
What do you know about that?
I know everything about it. I said, do we have 2 astronauts that are stuck in space? I have asked Elon, I said, do me a favor, can you get him out? He said, yes, he is preparing to go up, I think, in 2 weeks.
What do you know about how this went down? Because he's saying that the Biden White House was offered some kind of SpaceX rocket to go get these guys, and they said no.
That's what I heard. I can't tell you that, but that's what I heard. But Biden was embarrassed by what happened, and he said, leave him up there. I would have said, if you're embarrassed, you gotta get him out. Elon is right now preparing a ship to go up and get him.
I'm sure that they will see this in space. What is your message?
We love you, and we're coming up to get you, and you shouldn't have been up there so long. The most incompetent president in our history has allowed that to happen to you, but this president won't let it happen. We're gonna get them out. We're coming up to get you. I've authorized Elon. I said, can you get them out? Because, you know, they've been left up there. I hope they like each other, but maybe they'll love each other. I don't know. But they've been left up there. Think of it. And I see the woman with the wild hair, good solid head of hair she's got. There's no kidding, there's no games with her hair, but, and you know, there's a danger up there too. They can have some failures up there that would be very bad. You gotta get them out. So I've authorized Elon a week ago. I said, you know, we have 2 people up there that Biden and Kamala left up there, and he knows it very well. I said, are you equipped to get him? He said, yeah, he's got a Starship, and they're preparing it right now. And so Elon is going to go up and get him. Should I go on that journey just to be on the ship when we stop?
If that's an option, yes.
I should do it. Oh, that's terrible. I thought he liked it. I thought he liked it. I thought, Maria, should I do it?
Well, you should then come.
Maria likes me better.
You should then come back from space.
Well, when they come back, I'll greet them. How about that? No, we're gonna get them out. I've authorized Elon Musk to go and get them, and he's prepared to do so.
The rest of what you think in the market, sell off this.
I think it's globalists that see how rich our country's gonna be, and they don't like it, you know? There's a big market out there. But again, they've been ripping off this country for years, and now, and they're gonna do great. Everyone's gonna do great, but we can't let this continue to happen to America, otherwise we're not gonna have a country any longer. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Great. Thank you, Nick. They'll be nice. Hello, everyone. Hello, Peter.
President Trump, how are you today?
You're a big star.
How are you? We're doing very well.
Good job.
How are you?
Good job, man. Thank you very much. Today, we're delighted to be joined by Rodolphe Sade, the chairman and CEO of CMA CGM, one of the largest shipping companies in the world, probably number 2 in the world, probably going to be number 1 in the not too distant future, knowing him. They employ over 160,000 employees, have 750 major container vessels worldwide, and I'm thrilled to announce that it's going to be investing $20 billion into the United States because of the election results, which comes along with a lot of other things like great protections and other things. This massive investment will go toward building out shipping logistics, infrastructure, and terminals, which will create an estimated 10,000 new jobs in America. It's so important because it's about shipping. You know, we lost our way for many years. We haven't done anything. We used to build a ship a day, and now we essentially don't build ships. We're going to start that, and we're going to be announcing next week or the week after a massive new program for building very large, the largest ships in the world. And it'll have to do with incentives, taxes. They'll be coming from all over the world, just like they are with cars, with what we've done with tariffs. And we have at least 7 new major car plants that are going to be starting very shortly because of what we're doing with the tariffs, which will primarily start on April the 2nd. Most of the tariffs go in April the 2nd. Right now we have some temporary ones and small ones on relatively small, although it's a lot of money, having to do with Mexico and Canada. But the predominant tariffs will go, they'll be reciprocal in nature. They'll be going on April the 2nd, so we'll be talking about that. It will be a big game changer for our country because we've been ripped off by every country in the world. And now whatever they charge us 150, 200%, that we charge them nothing. So whatever they charge us, we're going to charge them. And there'll be no getting out of it. So we look forward to April 2nd. I've been looking forward to that date for a long time. I had it as April 1st, but I didn't want to be hit for April Fool's Day. I'm a very superstitious person. So we made it April 2nd. It probably cost us a lot of money doing that, but it's okay. I feel better about it. And that'll be something very big. But I'd like to ask Rodolphe if you'd say a few words, please, about what you're going to do, and also about the possibility of ship building in our country. Please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Yes, indeed, we are CMA CGM, one of the leaders in shipping and logistics around the world. We are very enthusiastic about this big announcement of today. We are investing $20 billion in shipping and logistics. This means the creation of 10,000 new American jobs. We're also looking at investing in shipbuilding of container vessels, and we most probably will be making also announcement in the next coming weeks. And we would like also, Mr. President, to go for more U.S. flag vessels, and we will go from 10 that we operate today to 30 U.S. flag ships, and hopefully doing more in the months to come. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, and congratulations on your great success. He's built with his father, before him, built one of the great shipping empires of the world. And that is, I never heard 750. It sounds like a lot to me, doesn't it, huh?
It is.
That's a fantastic company. Congratulations. Really great job. And I'm a real honor to have you. Why is it that more people don't have American flags? They seem to have Panamanian flags and Liberian flags. They don't seem to have a lot of American flags.
This will change, Mr. President. You will have more ships with U.S. flag as we move forward, and you can count on us to do as much as we can.
That's very good. It's true. Other countries take advantage of us even on that. So we're going to be changing that around, and I appreciate you coming up and even bringing it to our attention. It's really a great thing. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Will, could you come over? We're going to sign some executive orders.
Sir, your administration has made it a priority both to end lawfare and the weaponization of government, and also to hold those who have engaged in lawfare accountable. One of the law firms that has been involved in that is called Perkins Coie. That's also a law firm that is engaged in unlawful DEI practices. This executive order will suspend
And I've watched it take place.
This executive order will suspend security clearances and access to certain federal resources for that law firm, and also launch a holistic review of unlawful DEI practices at some of the nation's largest law firms.
This is an absolute honor to sign. What they've done is it's just terrible. It's weaponization. You could say weaponization against a political opponent, and it should never be allowed to happen again. And you're looking at about 15 different firms?
That or more, sir, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. One of the tools the left has consistently used to frustrate good government policies has been the use of injunctions and temporary restraining orders. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 65C allows for essentially a demand for an injunction bond for folks who are seeking temporary restraining orders and injunctions to post a bond before they're allowed to proceed in court. This presidential memorandum would order the Department of Justice, its litigating components, to seek those injunction bonds whenever someone tries to challenge our policies in court, so that when they end up losing in court, and we believe that they will end up losing in court, that they can be held financially responsible for the disruption to federal activities that their actions have caused.
Something they've wanted to do a long time, right? They've been looking to do this for years?
Yes, sir.
And why they just never got it?
This is a rule that's been on the books for a very long time. The Department of Justice has been very inconsistent in seeking these bonds.
From a legal standpoint, really a very big thing.
Thank you, sir. In order to protect American car manufacturers and American farmers, we have two modifications to the IEEPA tariffs that have already been announced against Canada and Mexico. This first order relates to Canada. Essentially, what it will allow for is the flow of parts and sub-assembly products into America to allow American car manufacturers to continue building cars. It basically excludes USMCA eligible goods from existing tariffs, and also in order to help our farmers at this crucial time of year, we're going to be reducing the tariff imposed on Canadian potash from 25% to 10%. So this is a modification to our tariff regime to protect American car manufacturers and American farmers.
It basically makes it more fair for our car manufacturers during the short-term period before April 2nd. April 2nd is a little bit different. That will be much more significant, but during this interim period between now and April 2nd, this makes it much more favorable for our American car manufacturers. Okay. Can you see that, Peter? Nice to be tall, Peter, right?
I see right over.
You can see it, so that's why he's such a gentleman. He doesn't have to rush. Okay.
And this is the same just for Mexico, sir, the previous one.
Same thing for Mexico. One for Canada, one for Mexico.
Yes, sir.
They've been in the news lately, haven't they? And I spoke to the president of Mexico, a wonderful woman, today, and we helped them out with the problem they were having to do with the tariffs, short-term tariffs. And we had a very good conversation. Also, we discussed drugs, and that we're working much harder lately. Do you notice that? On people coming in and drugs, and we made tremendous progress on both.
President Trump, what's your thought about why the markets are so spooked? Do you think they don't like the tariffs, or do they not like the uncertainty with some of the changes and the carve-outs?
Well, a lot of them are globalist countries and companies that won't be doing as well because we're taking back things that have been taken from us many years ago. We've been treated very unfairly as a country. We protect everybody, we do everything for all these countries, and a lot of these are globalist in nature. You know, they have, if you're outside of the United States, it's going to be a little bit different. We just weren't treated right. We were ripped off as a country. I've been saying it for a long time, and I did it to a certain extent in the first administration, but with COVID coming in, we had to focus on that toward the end. But we had the greatest economy in history in the first administration, and I think we'll do even better now. But this is something that we have to do. There'll always be a little short-term interruption. I don't think it's going to be big, but the countries and companies that have been ripping us aren't particularly happy with what I'm doing. But the United States will be very happy. And you know, our farmers are going to be very happy. And again, there'll be disruption. But in the end, I said it before with China, we signed an unbelievable deal with China, $50 billion in purchases, and we're doing great. Biden, however, when he came in, they never enforced that deal. So that's the only thing that basically you have globalist companies that have been ripping us off that won't be able to rip us off any longer. I think that's what the big charge is.
Have you been influenced, some of these exemptions that have been announced and some of these temporary delays, have you been influenced in those decisions because of the market reaction?
Well, there are no delays at all. No, nothing to do with the market. I'm not even looking at the market because long term, the United States will be very strong with what's happening here. Now, these are countries and companies, foreign companies, that have been ripping us off, and no president did anything about it until I came along, and then I did a lot about it. You know, we took in tariffs from China, $600 billion. Nobody else took in 10 cents from China. They never did. But when COVID came along, we had to focus on COVID. We did a great job. We got rid of that. We ended up handing over with a market that was higher than it was previous to COVID coming in. But this is very much about companies and countries that have ripped off this country, our beloved USA, and they're not going to be ripping us off anymore. So, you know, I think that has an impact on the market.
Sir, this is a slate of nominees that's been prepared by the Presidential Personnel Office. It includes a number of sub-cabinet level appointments, a number of your ambassadors that have been previously announced, and also, crucially, given the administration's concerted effort to focus on violent crime, it includes a number of U.S. attorneys in major cities that have real crime problems.
Okay, so very good people too.
Thank you, sir. And then we have a number of ceremonial proclamations that Lindsay Halligan is going to.
So two very special proclamations, the first of which is a proclamation that proclaims March 2025 as Women's History Month in honor of all the wonderful women in your administration, all the wonderful women in America, and in honor of everything you've done for women and this administration has done for women in just, what, a month and a half? So.
Yeah, we've done a lot, and women have done a lot for us, right? This is an honor. We have a wonderful woman here, Maria Bartiromo.
Thank you so much.
Nice to have you, Maria.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thanks for all that you're doing for women.
Thank you. She's going to do an interview of me later. Maybe I shouldn't do this interview. I should be like Biden, not do any interviews. That's great. Women, we love you.
We love you too, sir.
Thank you.
So the second one is a proclamation proclaiming March 2025 as Irish American Heritage Month in honor of, well, to commemorate our amazing friendship between America and Ireland, and to just honor all of the Irish Americans. And I'm a little bit biased because I'm American and Irish, but
Well, they're great people. They're great people. And they voted for me in heavy numbers, so I like them even now. You have to like them. You know, you're not.
Okay, it looks like it's just a repeat, kind of. I mean, other than the first beginning part. so
Most
it was
of it.
only the beginning part that was a little bit different. Okay,
Do you agree with that? Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. Don't leave. We'll talk about that. Hello, everybody. So before we begin, we're going to talk about how good some of these numbers are. I'll be way ahead of schedule, especially as respect to manufacturing and manufacturing jobs. It's taking hold, and we've only been here a few weeks, but it's really, it's going to be something. I don't know if the rest of the world likes it, but people in the U.S. like it, that I can tell you. If I might, could you talk about the student loan situation?
Yes, sir. So later this afternoon, we're going to have prepared for your signature an executive order dealing with the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. This is a program that's designed to expedite basically the conclusion of payments on student loans for people who have taken out federally backed student loans. The problem, though, is that a lot of these people work for NGO organizations, for nonprofit organizations that engage in illegal or what we would consider to be improper activities, supporting, for example, illegal immigration or foreign terrorist organizations or otherwise law-breaking activities. So this executive order will direct your Department of Education and Department of the Treasury to basically bring about modifications to the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program in order to ensure that people who are engaged in these sorts of activities can't benefit from a program that's really not intended to support those sorts of things.
And what are the consequences if they are not good?
The consequences would be that they wouldn't get forgiveness of their student loans as they would be eligible for if they were working for the government or a normal nonprofit that's not violating the law.
All right, any questions on that? Anybody have any questions? So we'll talk about the manufacturing turnaround, and it's been very early, but it's pretty significant. The numbers were much better, as you know, than projected by the media, and a little surprising actually how strong, how fast, because we have many companies that are moving into our country. As you probably know, it's a statistic that everyone talks about, but nobody seems to have done much about. Since the beginning of NAFTA, there's been 90,000 plants and factories closed in this country. Think of that. 90,000 plants and factories have been closed in this country. Many of them have been car manufacturing plants. And that's a terrible statistic, and we'll be turning that around. You're going to see it already. We already have numerous that are being built or starting to be built, and numerous that were being built in other countries, and they stopped, and they're coming here now because of the tariffs. And that's a big deal. That's what you want to hear. During the last year, the Biden administration saw a loss of more than 110,000 manufacturing jobs, or 9,000 manufacturing jobs every single month. It averaged about 9,000 a month, 110,000 manufacturing jobs. During the first full month in office, we've not only stopped that manufacturing collapse, but we've begun to rapidly reverse it and get major gains. We created 10,000 manufacturing jobs in February alone. That hasn't happened in a long time. And these aren't government jobs, which actually we cut. These are private sector manufacturing jobs. So we gained all of those jobs, 10,000 jobs, and we barely started yet. That's a very unusual number. People are surprised by it. I'm even a little surprised. On auto jobs, we created almost 9,000 new jobs in the auto production field. And the reason for that is largely they think things are happening, so they're already geared up. In some cases, they had rooms in their plants, or they had empty plants that they were able to put into use quickly because they see because of the tariffs, they don't want to be dealing with other places, and they don't want to go back and forth and around and through the borders and across Mexico border and Canada border and all. They want to have the jobs in one location. And they've had space, and if they had space, they were able to create the jobs almost immediately. In some cases, they'll be building plants to take care of those jobs. So we created 9,000 new jobs already. in the auto production, auto parts manufacturing. So we want the auto parts ideally, and I think from a simplicity standpoint too, to be built and made in the United States. It's in a single month. That all took place in a single month, 9,000 new auto jobs. You haven't heard that in a long time. After auto workers lost more than 27,000 auto jobs in the final year of Biden. These are also high-paying jobs. These are very prime jobs. The ISM Manufacturing Survey and the S&P Manufacturing Survey have also confirmed that our administration is presiding over a brand new domestic manufacturing boom after major collapse under Biden. It was a collapse. All he did is keep adding new government jobs, which are not the jobs you want. We're trying to shrink government and grow the private sector. That's what we've been doing. Under the final 2 years of Biden, 1 in every 4 jobs created in America was a government job. That's a tremendous percentage. But under the first full month of President Trump, which we haven't even gotten started yet, an incredible 93% of all job gains were in the private sector. So that statistic just came out. Big gains for native-born Americans. For the first time in 15 months, the job gains for native-born Americans, for American people, people born in America, exceeded job gains for migrant and foreign-born workers. This is the first time that's happened in more than 15 months. Employment for native-born workers went up by 284,000, while foreign-born workers went down by 87,000. Now, you've heard the same stat where foreign workers were taking up all the jobs, or almost all the jobs. In some cases, literally all of the jobs. And now it's 284,000 native-born jobs here, people born in our country, 284,000, while foreign-born workers went down by 87,000. First time that's happened in a long time. So these are incredible numbers, and they're very early. I mean, we're here for 5 weeks, but we have been talking about it since the big win in November 5th. So a lot of these people, they listen to us speak and they say, well, I'm going to gear up, and they're gearing up, and so they've been gearing up. They've had a little time. It's not just 5 weeks. It's 5 weeks plus a few months, and they are, they put it into effect pretty quickly. They have confidence that what I'm saying is going to happen. So with that, I'd like to ask a highly respected gentleman, Kevin Hassett. He's been with us for a long time, and he's been right about a lot. We had the greatest economy in history in the first term, and Kevin was a big part of it. So Kevin, could you maybe give it a little description, please?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Trump. I think that the 3 things that you emphasized during the campaign is that you wanted to create domestic, high-paying manufacturing jobs, that you wanted to end wasteful government spending and reduce the unproductive government workers, and in fact unleash them into the private economy where they could be more productive, and to create jobs for Americans. A lot of people said that if you deported illegals, that employment would go down because no Americans would take those jobs. And if you look, 280,000 American-born folks were hired, manufacturing jobs are going up, and this is just out of the expectation of your future policies, really, sir. It's in April when your Reciprocal Trade Act is expected to happen. The tax cuts haven't passed yet. And so people are clearly expecting the golden age. And if you want to forecast the future numbers, everybody, just keep in mind that President Trump has already gotten us $1.7 trillion in commitments of new factories. And those haven't even happened yet. Those aren't even in the numbers. And so I expect this is going to be a glimpse of the golden age to come, sir.
Thank you very much. One other thing, in Canada, we find that they're charging us over 200% for dairy products. You know about that. And when I left, we had that well taken care of, but under Biden, they just kept raising it. Very difficult to deal with the Canadian representatives. 250% for dairy products, tariff. So where do you hear that? You don't hear that. They have a tremendously high tariff. Give you the exact numbers in a little while coming out, on lumber. So they sell us lumber. They have a tremendous, they make it impossible for us to sell lumber or dairy products into Canada, but our numbers are a tiny fraction of that, almost non-existent. And what we're doing is bringing up our forests from the environmental nonsense that they put on them, where you can't cut down a tree. And we have to cut down trees in order to build the firewalls. And those trees are sold, but we're freeing it up on an emergency basis because Canada has been ripping us off for years on tariffs for lumber and for dairy products. 250%, nobody ever talks about that. 250% tariff, which is taking advantage of our farmers, so that's not gonna happen anymore. They'll be met with the exact same tariff unless they drop it. And that's what reciprocal means. And we may do it as early as today, or we'll wait till Monday or Tuesday. But that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna charge the same thing. It's not fair, never has been fair. And they've treated our farmers badly. Look, our country's been ripped off by everybody. That stops now. I had it stopped in my first term. And we're gonna really stop it now because this has been very unfair. Our country from an economic standpoint, and financial standpoint, and a trade standpoint, has been absolutely ripped off by almost every country in the world. Canada, Mexico, and then you just go right down the line. India charges us massive tariffs, massive. You can't even sell anything into India. It's almost restrictive. It is restrictive. You know, we do very little business inside. They've agreed, by the way, they want to cut their tariffs way down now because somebody's finally exposing them for what they've done. And same thing with China, same thing with a lot of other countries. And the EU has been a terrible abuser of this country. I mean, the EU was formulated in order to take advantage of the United States, and they have taken it, but they're not taking advantage when I'm in charge. So sometimes you'll hear some negative things. It's always from outside countries. America will be very strong. And, you know, if I'm a foreign country, they're gonna do fine. But they can't do like they used to do because we're gonna bring back our business into this country. We need it from a job standpoint. We need it from even just a psychological standpoint. Think of it, 90,000 factories are gone since the beginning of NAFTA. So we're not gonna have that, and we're gonna see them build it back. Now we've already had 5 major automobile companies. First time you've heard this in a long time, since my first term actually, where we were really rocking and rolling, and then Biden came in and he stopped everything, like such a stupid thing to do, not even a believable thing. But we have many auto plants now coming in. We have big chip plants. We have the biggest chip company in the world, most powerful, probably one of the most powerful companies in the world. When you say, Kevin, and he's coming in and they're building one of the largest chip plants in the world. That'll be done in Arizona, mostly in Arizona. And that'll give us a big percentage, that one plant will give us a big percentage of the chip market, something we have very little of. You know, we used to have Intel, and Intel was run by a man named Andy Grove. And Andy Grove was a tough, smart guy. I used to read about him when I was a young man, and he did an incredible job. He really dominated the chip business. And then he died, and I guess they had a series of people that didn't know what the hell they were doing, and we gradually lost the chip business, and now it's almost exclusively in Taiwan. They stole it from us, they took it from us, and I don't blame them, I give them credit. I blame the people that were sitting in the seat because they allowed it to happen. We could have protected that so easily, but so we had the chip business, and now it's all in Taiwan, almost exclusive, a little bit in South Korea, but mostly in Taiwan. And it's very important. Everything you do, everything you touch is now about chips. The brake of a car, the cars have chips all over the place. I was reading an article the other day where they talk about the brakes of a car are loaded up with chips. Who would think that a brake has a chip in it? But it's all about chips. So that was a big thing. And they'll be investing hundreds of billions of dollars in this country, and we'll be taking back a big, big portion of that industry. We have others coming in too. But a lot of car manufacturers are coming in, and they're coming in fast. And one of the reasons you see these numbers, and again, Kevin said it, and I said it a little bit, but the fact that they know I won the election, so after I was president-elect, they assumed that I was going to do what I said, because I do what I say. And so these numbers really reflect a lot of things that took place since November 5th, right? So Kevin, thank you very much, great job. Any questions?
How concerned are you that the large-scale federal government layoffs will weaken the labor market? How concerned are you?
The large-scale fentanyl what?
The federal government layoffs will impact the labor market, will weaken the labor market.
Oh. No, I think the labor market's gonna be fantastic, but it's gonna have high-paying manufacturing jobs as opposed to government jobs. We had too many people in government, you can't just do that. We had many too many. This is for 40 years. You know, this isn't just now, this built up and got worse and worse, and they just hire more and more people. You look at Department of Education, it seems like so many buildings, I ride by, it says Department of Education, they're all over the place. And we don't even want it, we want the education to be given by the states, it'll be much better. It'll move us to the top of the list from the bottom of the list. And actually save us money, but not, it's too important to even talk about them. It'll save us a lot of money, but we don't want that. We want education to be given. So you go to Iowa and Indiana and Idaho and all these places that are so well run, they're gonna be producing education that will be the equivalent of, like Denmark is one, and Norway, Sweden. Actually, China is one of the better in terms of education, and so we can't blame size anymore. You know, China has 1.4 billion people, but they're very high on the list. The one thing we're doing well on, we're number one on the list, is cost per pupil. We spend more money than any other country in the world by far. So I jokingly say, the one thing we do well on is the cost. We spend more money, and yet we're toward the bottom of the list, yeah.
Mr. President, I want to ask you, the joint address, millions of Americans watched your joint address earlier this week, where you warned that there could be a little disturbance that Americans could feel as a function of these taxes, these tariffs. How much disturbance are you willing to accept in the near term as a function of that? And to set expectations, how long should Americans expect things to cost a bit more?
Well, so far, Peter, there hasn't been very much, because these numbers are coming out. We're here for just a little over 4 weeks. And these are fantastic numbers. I was watching some of the reports this morning. They were surprised. There could be some disturbance, a little bit of disturbance. I solved a little bit of that because I have respect for auto companies, and I gave them a little bit of a 1-month reprieve because it was unfair. Although I'm sure they'll take advantage of it. I see they're driving a lot of cars into the U.S. to try and avoid the tariffs, and you know, they're taking advantage of it a little bit. But they called me, they asked me, they said, could they have a little bit of help? And I decided, you know, they're American companies, USMCA, and I let them have that. But this really kicks in, the reciprocals, you know, kicks in on, let's see, I guess the 2nd. And I wanted it to be the 1st so badly, just didn't want to be on April Fool's Day. So I made it the 2nd. That's going to cost a lot of money. That one day is going to cost a lot of money, but that's okay. But I don't see it. I don't see anything. I see good reports. I think we're going to have good numbers from the beginning. Now, the globalists won't love this because this brings jobs back to America. So if they're coming back to America, maybe you'll lose some in other parts of the world. But the other parts of the world have done very well, and they'll continue to do very well. But I think the United States is going to be doing record business. We'll bring a lot of those 90,000 factories that have been lost over the last number of years. It's been, it's hard to believe. 90,000, think of what 90,000 is. 90,000 plants and factories are gone. We're going to bring back many of those plants and factories.
One day the tariffs are on, the next day they're off. Right now, the markets, as you know well, prefer stability. Are you done going forward with the pauses and the carve-outs? Is that it for those?
There'll always be changes and adjustments, and you know, you can't just, I could have, for instance, told the American car companies, no, I'm not going to give you anything, and then you wouldn't have had to say, well, they're getting a little extra. It's just a little bit of a 1-month reprieve. They're very happy about what's happening. They won't have to go across borders, and you see the zigzagging. You have a fender made in Canada, you have something else made in Mexico. We don't want that. We want it made here. But there'll always be some modifications. I mean, if you have a wall in front of you, sometimes you have to go around the wall instead of through it. But I think very little. I think very little. On occasion, if we can do something, we want to help companies. We want to help companies create jobs. So I could have left that, and you wouldn't have had a minor change. Instead, I was asked by the real majors, the big majors, if they could do this, and I said, yeah, I'll do it. I want you to produce a lot of jobs. And numerous of the people, actually all of the people I spoke to have already been, they're very much on the way to already, and that's why you have auto jobs increase. And the man, I don't know him, Sean Fain, I don't know him, but, and I did great, and you know, with the auto workers, with the Teamsters, with unions, I did fantastically well. Best numbers ever by a Republican. But, and I have a lot of respect for those people, but Sean Fain, who I don't know, but wasn't a supporter, although the auto workers were big supporters. I watched him last night, and he said Donald Trump is absolutely right on tariffs. He said what he's doing on tariffs is an incredible thing, and it's about time somebody had the guts to do it, because we're going to save auto manufacturing. And I said to people when I was campaigning, you're going to have so many auto jobs, you're not going to believe what's going to happen. We're going to load up Michigan. I won the state of Michigan, as you know. And part of the reason I won it was I got a lot of auto workers that voted for me, Detroit, etc. But I think people are going to be very surprised. Yes.
President, you mentioned in your remarks chips manufacturing, how a significant percentage is now in Taiwan. You also mentioned
it's just a piece of shit.
in your address to Congress, and you called on Congress
It's just
to
falling
forge
apart.
on the CHIPS Act, which had bipartisan
People use
support.
dumbass screws like
Why
this.
would you like to see this particular law overturned?
Because it's hundreds of billions of dollars and it's just a waste of money. Now, some people have already taken the money and used it. Actually, it's very hard to qualify because they go by race, they go by gender, they go by all sorts of things. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. You won't be able to find those people. So I don't even think anybody can qualify. They have so many different categories. In order to qualify, you have to have so many of a certain race, a certain gender, a certain this, a certain, and it's, I don't think they can qualify, but if they take the money, they better qualify because they'll be watching them. But it's a tremendous waste of money. I didn't give the greatest chip company in the world, one of the greatest companies, I didn't give them 10 cents. They came here because of tariffs, because they didn't want to pay the tariffs. And they also came here because they like the results of the election, because they know that I'm very pro-business and pro-jobs. I mean, I'm pro-business, not for business sake, I'm pro-business because of jobs, because business is producing the jobs, okay?
President Putin is bombing Ukraine.
Yeah.
Do you still believe him when he tells you that he wants peace?
You know, I believe him, I think we're doing very well with Russia. But right now, they're bombing the hell out of Ukraine, and Ukraine, I'm finding it more difficult, frankly, to deal with Ukraine. And they don't have the cards. They don't have the cards. As you know, we're meeting in Saudi Arabia on sometime next week, early. And we're talking, I find that in terms of getting a final settlement, it may be easier dealing with Russia, which is surprising because they have all the cards. I mean, and they're bombing the hell out of them right now. And I put a statement in, a very strong statement. Can't do that, can't do that. We're trying to help them. And Ukraine has to get on the ball and get a job done. Michael, could you come up here? I see Michael back there. Yeah, good, I'm glad. He's traveling all over the world. I just saw him come in the door. Could you give a little definition of what's going on, please?
Sure. Well, the president has been crystal clear, and he's been clear to all sides. The fighting has to stop. Both sides need to get to the table. We had a good engagement. Both leaders have said only President Trump could do so, and only he has been able to do so. We had an initial engagement with the Russians. The Ukrainians had a great opportunity to bind our economies together through that mineral deal. Unfortunately, that didn't go so well, but we think we're going to get things back on track. Secretary Rubio, myself and Ukrainian delegation will be meeting in Saudi Arabia next week to get these talks back on track, get the ceasefire in place, and drive peace home under President Trump's leadership.
I think both parties want to settle. I think if I wasn't president, this war would have had no chance of settlement, zero chance. But I think we're going to get it settled and stopped. We got to stop. They're losing on average 2,000 soldiers a week. That's a lot of soldiers. Do you agree, Peter?
It's a lot of soldiers on both sides, I agree. Do you, Mr. President, think that Vladimir Putin is taking advantage of the U.S. pause right now on intelligence and military aid to Ukraine?
No, I actually think he's doing what anybody else would do. I think he's I think he wants to get it stopped and settled, and I think he's hitting them harder than he's been hitting them. And I think probably anybody in that position would be doing that right now. He wants to get it ended, and I think Ukraine wants to get it ended, but I don't see, it's crazy. They're taking tremendous punishment. I don't quite get it, but I suspect, Michael, he probably wants to get it ended.
He does, Mr. President. The Russians are taking incredible losses on the front. As the president has said, this is a meat grinder of people, of material, of national treasure, and no one else has any solutions except to let this war continue forever. But I'll add, the president has had multiple conversations and a visit from President Macron of France, Prime Minister Starmer of the United Kingdom. We have the NATO Secretary General coming next week. We have this meeting with the Ukrainians. We've had it with the Russians. All of this in the president's first month in his leadership. We will engage in the shuttle diplomacy, and we will continue to use his leadership and what leverage we have to get both sides of the peace table. It's not going to be easy, but President Trump.
This war should have never happened. It would have never happened if I were president, but it did happen. So a lot of other things shouldn't have happened too. We shouldn't have 21 million people pouring into our country through open borders, many of whom are criminals, very bad criminals, including murderers, thousands of murders. Many killed, far more than one person, and they're roaming our streets. But Tom Holman and Kristi Noem are doing an incredible job, and we're getting them out of here. And we'll get them out. We'll get them all out. But all these things shouldn't have happened. We shouldn't have inflation. We shouldn't have had this horrible inflation where the prices have gone up. Look at eggs.
Doing all
So
right.
we're doing a good job. We're doing a good job.
President, in regards to the pause on military assistance to Ukraine, you put out on the social media post today that Russia is pounding Ukraine.
That's right.
Why not provide Ukraine with air defenses? And what happens, Mr. President, when Ukraine runs out of?
Well, because good question. Because I have to know that they want to settle. I don't know that they want to settle. If they don't want to settle, we're out of there. Because we want them to settle. And I'm doing it to stop death. More important than anything else. Secondarily, way down the line is the money. So we're in for $350 billion, and Europe is in for $100 billion. They should be in for the same or more than us. And, you know, I watched over the last week or so what's going on in Europe. This thing could end up in World War III if we don't get it settled. This could really end up in a World War III. We got to get it settled.
Sir, on Iran, how confident are you that the Iranians will negotiate with you, and is Israel on board with this outage?
Yeah, I saw the hostages the other day. They came in, people that were not young, some young and some older, much older. And they gave, it was hard for them to do it actually. They gave statements as to what happened. I was asking, what happened? How was it? I said, did you see anybody in there that was kind to, like, out of the hundreds of people that you were seeing in Hamas? Did some of them wink at you and say, don't worry, you're going to be okay, or give you a piece of bread, or no? I said, were there any people that were, like, kind? I was shocked. The answer was nobody. There was nobody. Just the opposite. They'd be slapped and punched. One man broke his ribs. He couldn't breathe for a month. It was brutal. I was so surprised. Did you think there'd be a couple of people that would be kind, that would say, you're going to be okay? But they had none of that. It's pretty amazing. Brian? He's a kind person.
Well,
although not to Zelensky, he wasn't. But to Trump, he's been good. Go ahead, Brian.
nice try, by the way, with the coordinated. Two questions. One on peace. Why don't you think any other European countries are offering a peace deal? It seems like no one's come to the table for peace except for you.
It's a very good question. Sometimes questions aren't answerable. They're in a very unusual position. They don't know how to end the war. I think I do know how to end the war. And despite the Russia hoax, I've always had a good relationship with Putin. And, you know, he wants to end the war. He wants to end it. And I think he's going to be more generous than he has to be. And that's pretty good. That means a lot of good things.
Right.
Because frankly, you could have made a great deal if this war never started, you could have made a great deal. I don't know that anything would have had to be given up. This was not a war that was gonna start, Brian. And it didn't start. For 4 years, somebody said, well, how do we know that? Well, for 4 years, it didn't start. I used to speak to Vladimir about it. I used to speak to him about it at length. It was the apple of his eye, but there was no way he was going in. And he knew it, there were gonna be consequences. But it did start. I mean, think of what happened. Inflation, you have the war with Ukraine and Russia, that wouldn't have happened. October 7th would have never happened. Israel, they had no money, Iran had no money. Iran was stone cold broke. And now they have a lot of money. And that's gonna be the next thing you'll be talking about is Iran. What's gonna happen with Iran? And there'll be some interesting days ahead, that's all I can tell you. We're down to final strokes with Iran, that's gonna be an interesting time. And we'll see what happens, but we're down to the final moments. We're at final moments. Can't let them have a nuclear weapon. I think that I would have had to deal with it 1 month after the rigged election of 2020. They were all set to make a deal. And then when I lost, I saw this person who's a stupid person, very stupid person. And they said, let's not make a deal. And they were right. He took the sanctions off. They became rich under Biden. They went from having no money to having $300 billion. All in a short period. It's oil. Oil builds up fast. It's a nice living if you have a nice oil well. And they do. They have a lot of nice oil wells, right? So anyway, it's going to be a big thing. It's an interesting time in the history of the world, but we have a situation with Iran that something's going to happen very soon, very, very soon. You'll be talking about that pretty soon, I guess, and hopefully we can have a peace deal. I'm not speaking out of strength or weakness. I'm just saying I'd rather see a peace deal than the other, but the other will solve the problem.
Your allies are calling on you to pardon Derek Chauvin. Are you considering pardoning Derek Chauvin?
No, I haven't even heard about it. No.
Mr. President, on peace.
I haven't heard that.
In the first term, you may recall, I broke the news that you were nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. And the reason for that was the work that you led on the Abraham Accords. I spoke yesterday with a member of parliament, the Norwegian parliament, that nominated. And he said, what the Nobel Committee is looking for from you, Mr. President, is security guarantees for Ukraine. Is that a possibility, Mr. President?
So, before I even think about that, I want to settle the war, get it finished. Because if I'm not here, nobody's going to settle it. And President Macron has said that, and everybody said that. The prime ministers are presidents. We're pushing very hard. That's all I'm thinking about now. As far as the question about security later, that's the easy part. The hard part is getting it settled. We got to get them. We're losing 2,000 human beings every week. More than that, actually. 2,000 nice, young, although they're getting older because they're drafting much older now. In the case of one country, much older, because a lot of the young people have been killed. It's very sad, and I'd like to see if I could stop that. And I'd like to also see if we could stop making these massive payments from the United States. I mean, Biden gave away money like it was water, with no anything, got nothing for it. Europe did it in the form of a loan. They get their money back, we don't. So that's how we came up with the rare earth deal. But we started, behind the 8 ball. He could have gone to Europe. He could have said, come on, you got to put up money with us. You got to put up money with us. But he never did that. They just kept handing money out because he was grossly incompetent. All right, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Look good, Peter. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, very interesting, very interesting. Pretty good. That one was like 17 hours ago. So, yeah. Sorry about jumping on my chair, but it was driving me nuts too much. I couldn't help myself. The thing irritates me. And I figured it'd be an easy fix, you know. So, which should relatively was. So now, well, hopefully now it will stay. It should. Hopefully now. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Thanks for asking, Cosmo. Alright, let's give it a shot now. How about it? Yeah? I killed this chair. It's fucking screws, I tell you. Fucking screws. Shit. Fucking joke. It's fucking stupid. I don't understand this bullshit. I really don't. Why? Hey! Damn, was that hard? You a bitch. I don't understand it. I really don't. I really don't, man. You feel it just like that, eh? Or did it just go through the screw? Like, I don't even know. I don't know, I'm sure it pulled right out. Pretty funny. I came up with an idea. That's pretty. Bring it. Mr. Ray's is gonna do it a different way. He's about way, baby. Yeah. Fix this right, boys. Not gonna be a division no more. I don't wanna stay up there. If she likes it or not. Damn. get up there. Quite honestly, I just need a bigger screw. I get a cap. You know, a bigger head. You know what I mean? Would probably fix the issue. I have a cap on that one. Yeah. Let's see though. Does it help? Maybe it slightly does, I don't know. I don't know if I really noticed much of a difference per se, but I don't freaking know, man. I don't know why they're idiots and they use small screws. I just don't understand it. They wouldn't use small screws. It wouldn't be like this. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that. Not me freaking with that, but you know, I just have to go to Ace or something and buy a bigger one or something. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna end it here. So smash like, subscribe, would appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one over at Sign Up. Peace. More fire content later.